Brian Wilson, a legendary figure in American music, was born on June 20, 1942, in Inglewood, California. He grew up in nearby Hawthorne in a middle-class household with his two younger brothers, Dennis and Carl Wilson. Their parents, Murry and Audree Wilson, were both musically inclined, and Murry in particular was a strong influence on Brian's early exposure to music. He introduced Brian to the piano and taught him the basics of harmony and composition. By the time Brian was a teenager, it was clear that he possessed a rare musical gift, an exceptional ear for melody, harmony, and arrangement. Brian Wilson's life would be defined by his genius, innovation, and personal struggles. In the early 1960s, he formed what would become one of the most influential bands in music history, the Beach Boys, alongside his brothers Dennis and Carl, cousin Mike Love, and friend Al Jardine. The Beach Boys quickly became synonymous with the California sound, offering a fresh blend of surf rock, rich vocal harmonies, and youthful energy. Brian took on the role of the band's main songwriter, arranger, and producer. With early hits like Surfin Safari, Surfin U.S.A, Fun, 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 and I Get Around, Brian led the group to national stardom. Brian's innovative use of studio techniques, multi-layered vocal harmonies, and emotionally expressive songwriting elevated the Beach Boys beyond the typical pop fare of the time. As he matured, so did his music. His magnum opus, Pet Sounds, 1966, is widely regarded as one of the most important albums in popular music history. The album broke new ground in production and lyrical depth. With tracks like Wouldn't It Be Nice, God Only Knows, and Caroline, No, Pet Sounds reflected Brian's inner struggles and yearning for artistic integrity. Following Pet Sounds, Brian attempted to push the creative envelope even further with the ambitious Project Smile, which was intended to be an avant-garde, psychedelic masterpiece. However, the project collapsed under the weight of Wilson's deteriorating mental health, internal band conflicts, and pressure from Capitol Records. Brian began to suffer from auditory hallucinations, paranoia, and depression, conditions that were exacerbated by his heavy drug use, particularly LSD and amphetamines. During the late 1960s and much of the 1970s, Brian retreated from public life and the spotlight. He became increasingly isolated and withdrawn, rarely participating in Beach Boys tours or recordings. His physical and mental health declined significantly. Brian gained weight, became reclusive, and spent much of his time in bed. This led to a period where he was largely under the control of his controversial therapist, Dr. Eugene Landy, who implemented a strict and often exploitative regimen of control under the guise of treatment. Landy's influence over Brian lasted throughout the 1980s, and he even took co-writing and production credits on some of Wilson's solo work. Eventually, legal action was taken by Brian's family and friends, leading to Landy's removal from Wilson's life in 1991. With Landy gone, Brian began the slow and painful process of rebuilding his life. Encouraged by friends and new collaborators, he returned to music more consistently and began performing again. In 1988, Brian released his first solo album, Brian Wilson, which was met with critical praise. That same year, he and the other original members of the Beach Boys were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Although he remained a fragile figure, Brian slowly regained a place in the music world as a revered elder statesman of pop and rock. A major turning point came in the 2000s when Brian completed Smile, the long-abandoned project from the 1960s. In 2004, he released Brian Wilson Presents Smile, a reimagined version of the legendary Lost album. The release and its accompanying live performances were triumphs for Wilson and were seen as redemptive milestones. Smile was hailed as a masterpiece, and Brian was finally recognized as one of the true innovators in music history. In the years that followed, Wilson continued to tour, release new albums, and participate in Beach Boys reunions. His 2011 project Brian Wilson Reimagines Gershwin and subsequent releases like No Peer Pressure, 2015, demonstrated his ongoing creativity and love for music. While his health remained delicate, he became more open in discussing his lifelong struggles with mental illness, including his diagnosis of schizoaffective disorder. Brian Wilson was also the subject of several films and documentaries. The 2014 biopic Love and Mercy starred Paul Dano and John Cusack, portraying different periods of Wilson's life, and received critical acclaim for its sensitive and insightful portrayal of his personal and artistic journey. Throughout his life, Wilson was married twice. He first wed Marilyn Rovell in 1964, and the couple had 2 daughters before divorcing in the late 1970s. In 1995, he married Melinda Ledbetter, who played a vital role in helping him regain stability after years of exploitation and illness. Melinda was instrumental in securing his freedom from Dr. Landy's influence and became a key supporter in his later life. The couple adopted 5 children and shared a quiet domestic life outside the glare of celebrity. Brian's legacy extended beyond his personal battles. His contributions to music influenced generations of artists, from Paul McCartney and the Beatles to contemporary composers and indie musicians. His approach to harmony, studio experimentation, and emotional honesty reshaped the possibilities of pop music. Despite frequent battles with depression, drug addiction, and mental health crises, Wilson's resilience and artistic brilliance endured. He received numerous accolades over his career, including Grammy Awards and a Kennedy Center honor. He remained a beloved and admired figure whose music brought joy and inspiration to millions. Brian Wilson passed away peacefully on June 9, 2025, at his home in Los Angeles. He was 82 years old. The cause of death was reported as complications related to his long-term mental and physical health issues. Tributes poured in from across the music world, with artists, fans, and fellow musicians mourning the loss of a visionary whose music forever changed the cultural landscape. His death marked the end of an era, but Brian Wilson's spirit lives on through his music. Songs like God Only Knows, Don't Worry Baby, and Heroes and Villains remain timeless, continuing to inspire new listeners. His story, one of profound genius, intense suffering, and eventual redemption, serves as a testament to the transformative power of music and the resilience of the human spirit. In the end, Brian Wilson was not just a beach boy or a pop icon, he was a true artist whose inner symphonies reshaped modern music. His legacy remains eternal, etched in the harmonies he built and the hearts he touched. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this.